Hi, I'm Denise Duhamel, and I'm reading in praise of Collette Inez's Pay Yourself First. In 1990, I had the pleasure of reading with Collette Inez in a library in Tarrytown. We bonded immediately. We were both wearing all black. We both had dyed red hair. We were both Geminis with June birthdays. We were both of French heritage. Collette had a French mother and a French-American father who was really a father with a capital F, a priest, which deserves its own essay, of course, and of which she wrote brilliant poems and a heart-wrenching memoir, The Secret of Monsieur Dulong. Collette Inez, who was born in 1931 and who died in 2018, was like a poetry fairy godmother to me. I'd finished grad school by the time we met. My poetry professors, quite rightly, were busy helping their new students. Collette's advice was wacky and fun. She said it was important to wear black or solid colors for readings so that the audience would be focused on the poet's face rather than any patterned blouse or dress. She also advised big earrings and bright lipstick as ways to draw attention to the poet's head and mouth. Collette had an elegant, easygoing style, quick to smile and laugh. But the best advice of all she bestowed, her metaphorical wand touching the top of my head, was this: always pay yourself first. I was an adjunct those days, teaching 6 classes a semester at 3 different universities, my arduous commute taking me from Manhattan to Long Island and Queens. I didn't at first understand what she meant by pay. Collette asked when I did my best writing, and I said, whenever I can, whenever I'm done grading and preparing my next classes. She explained that that wouldn't sustain me over the long haul, and repeated her question. I told her I wrote best in the morning, but often, when I woke up, anxiety took over in terms of all that I had to do for that particular day. She explained that I first had to feed myself with poetry. That's what she meant by pay yourself first. Allow myself an hour writing per day, first thing in the morning, if I could. If nothing came to the page, I was allowed to fill that time with reading poetry. She instructed me to stroll right by my piles of ungraded papers and unpaid bills, ignore them completely. Her voice was so confident that I did what she said, setting a timer and writing an hour each morning. Sometimes I wrote nothing much, or I guess I don't have anything to say today, but every few days I had a breakthrough. Collette and I kept in touch through letters for the remainder of her life. We sent each other poems and postcards. For more than 30 years, I have heeded her counsel. It has made me certainly a better and more disciplined writer. It has also, I believe, made me a better professor. No longer do I feel resentful of grading. I am lucky I teach poetry now rather than comp classes, and grading is not so much grading as engaging with student poems. I have adapted Collette's advice as technology marched on. Now, in addition to ignoring bills and correspondence, I also try to avoid email for the first hour of the day and spend that time reading and writing. I keep the volume of my cell phone off until I'm ready to deal with any calls or texts. And when I do finally check my email, I open the Poem a Day email before any work mails. And only after that do I check the news. It's a small practice, but one that has kept me sane and writing poetry. When Collette and I met, the words self-care and me time weren't part of the vernacular yet, and I even hesitate to use them now. But there was something profound about Collette's writing advice, which had nothing to do with craft, but everything to do with process, that has been invaluable to me. More than once, I have passed on the same advice to younger poets who now must struggle with all the issues I did as a younger person, as well as keeping up with social media. I myself am not on any platforms, yet I know how important this way of communicating is to many. Trying to channel Collette, I suggest poets keep that hour to themselves whenever they write best. One former student recently told me it was not until we spoke about this that she even realized she could turn off her notifications. I tapped my metaphorical wand on her head, and she passed on Collette's advice via me through her own wand to her poet friends on Facebook. Then she put down her phone in a drawer and began to write in her notebook.